Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to take a look at a timeline that could have been a disaster, but instead it's apparently a great success. Lost Ark's release in the West has not been free of problems. However, as it stands right now, it's the second most played game on Steam, which is gigantic, because we're 80 days into its release and it's still killing the charts. And not only that, the game has been gaining traction in the past month. By traction, I mean around 150,000 more players have joined the game or came back to it in the month of April, which is again another gigantic thing. So today we're gonna try to look over this article that I found on the forums. It's nicely structured with everything that has happened throughout Lost Ark's release in the West from the beginning all the way up until the end of this month. And we're gonna see what exactly was done right, wrong, and how is Lost Ark mostly positive reviewed, when in fact it's a game that you could potentially debate the real money topic quite many hours if you would want to. I've said it since 2018, it's such a lovely experience that the real money debate, call it pay to progress faster, pay to win, pay to skip content and be bored, however you wish, there is a common factor, and that is the pay factor. And even with that, the experience that it provides and the way Smilegate and Amazon have adjusted the Western version to actually better fit the players and make the players happy, I believe is at the core of its success, and its growing success at that. He starts by saying that when the game launched, it came with the following content. The Welcome Challenge, this was a fantastic addition, by the way, a very pleasant surprise. They had to do this, right? Because they wanted to start with tier 3 content from the get-go. That was a very hard task, and it still is a very hard task to manage. They're still up until this day trying to figure out what are the best ways of doing so. I think it was really hard, and I think for the difficulty of what they try to pull off, I think they've been doing great in terms of adjusting and changing and managing player expectations with their expectations and with the rewards. This was a little bit rushy, I get it, but I'm so proud of so many players that have handled it. They have taken it like champs, right? Westernization, he mentions that the show more boxes, right? The extra loot box that you get in Abyssal Dungeons were changed to gold instead of crystals, right? Were changed to cost gold instead of crystals. So far, right before, just a couple of weeks before our release, they didn't used to give you gold, at least the tier 1 and 2 Abyssal Dungeons, right? It was just plain out pay some crystal from your own pocket. Right now, you pay some gold from the pot that you already get as a reward from finishing that tier 1 and 2 Abyssal Dungeon. Yeah, so it's a really nice change. Currency exchange was updated to make it more understandable to the naked eye, and the 2 power passes at launch. The Vern power passes were so fantastic because we received them for free. There was 2 of them, not just 1, and it sort of encouraged people to get another character at level 50, right? Or if they chose the wrong class, not to have to go through the leveling up process again. Not to mention that for very many people it encouraged them and it opened their eyes to the possibility of having alts, and I feel that these free Vern power passes at least teased the idea to many players. There were many other, by the way, many other Westernization changes, such as changes to the Mari's secret shop, which was great. Also changes to the pet system in other regions, even up until today. The pets actually, the extra features to open a remote warehouse and stuff, they are not included in the premium membership. There is also a premium membership in every other region, like the Crystalline Aura, but it doesn't have the pet features included in it. Pet features cost extra blue crystals. Number 7, an empty cash shop. I have to add this, as everyone was particularly shocked to see the costumes being bare bone and empty compared to our fellow regions, where you see a full load of cash shop costumes. Lost Ark was for the longest time towards the empty in the skin section, even on the Korean region. At the beginning, we also had, like in 2018, we also had 1 skin plus 1 other extra. the game is already 3.5 years old almost in Korea, so you would expect that they would have 7, 8, 9 different skins for each character, right? I would expect more cooler ones as opposed to just more in terms of quantity. But yeah, and then begins the mess that took place shortly after with the queues, the server swap complaints, and new servers being added to our game. Yeah, it was a complete nightmare to actually play Lost Ark at the beginning. There was gigantic queues that lasted for even 12 hours. You used to stay in the queue, and also not to mention that after you finally managed to log into the game, the instance matching server where you do almost all of your content in Lost Ark was so slow that in some days you couldn't even get in to actually finish that daily content unless it was very late in the night. For some reason, it always after 1 a.m. in the night it opened up and there was no problems anymore. This was shortly compensated with an additional Founders Pack, which was distributed on Friday, Friday 18th, a week into launch. These packs were bound and gave the players an option to restart from a different server. It also gave the players an option to sell their original ones at absolutely no cost, because they still could have something from the gifted Founders Pack, which made them a lot of money at the beginning. Fast forward 10 days to where things hit the fan for the first time. Guardian Raid and Abyss Dungeon nerf. I don't think that these nerfs happened because a lot of players apparently couldn't cope with the mechanics of some of the tier 1 and 2 bosses in Guardian Raids and also Abyssal Dungeons. His personal opinion on this is that failure is an understatement, as wipes are a given, and it may take 1, 2, 5, 10 wipes to clear a raid or a guardian, and at the end that gives me satisfaction that it was worth it. I completely understand this point. This works very well if tier 1 is the end game content. However, the purpose of our release and all of the other examples around us, people we look up to, people we watch on YouTube, on Twitch, and all of the posts even from Amazon were like, you know, to get there, let's get there fast, let's hone this, hone that, and you know, this is a pass-through stage. Every single video was that tier 1 and 2 doesn't matter. Now all of these emotions combined for a player that doesn't know anything about the game makes them think that I don't want to be stuck in a tier 1.5 Guardian raid because one member in my party cannot do that raid wipe mechanic, since this is just a pass-through stage. This was a good change in my opinion. It personally didn't bother me at all. I know that it bothered some people, that why are we nerfing the game. I was a little bit afraid that they would start nerfing tier 3 things, which it turns out they didn't, and I congratulate them for that. But I think the tier 1 and 2 nerf was perfectly fine at that time. On March 9th, we get our rude awakening and official patch notes of Argos being released with no prior warning, and that threw everyone off. We knew that they want to rush to Valtan, and many people had suspicions and created videos about the fact that Valtan would come in April, which was their original plan. Not many players were actually ready for Argos, so this one was a little bit rushed, but right after it they completely turned their plans around, and they made such a good step moving forward for the health of the community and the health of the game in general. Players needed a little bit more time to get accustomed to Lost Ark. Not everyone has played the game like we have 3.5 years already and knows everything, every path. People want to explore, people abandon a class at level 40, start all over. This is normal procedure. Major issues, update March 11th. The one thing to take from this patch would be the first line. And he misspelled the Arcasia, right? 16th of March, we had a big message from the team at Amazon and Smilegate talking about content cadence, talking about feedback from the players. This was a fantastic message, by the way, a fantastic way of communicating the fact that they've seen what's going on, and they've noticed, and that they are willing to adjust their original plans to better fit our release. This was great. I uploaded them at that time. It was just a fantastic gesture, and it also came with like the coolest skins ever. Right, here's a cool skin for you, this Mokoko thing, and also the Mokoko mount. It was an amazing thing to do, and an amazing set of rewards in general. Again, it's an amazing skin for me as a player. For another person which wants a normal, maybe cute skin, dressing up as a cow or as a dinosaur might not be, you know, what they're looking for. Happy Hour edition on March 25th. This gives us another, again, more pots, more consumables for us to use on a daily basis, which is great. Well, not that great for the economy, not that great for gathering, but it's great because it's one less thing for people to spend gold on, as opposed to, you know, buying these pots from the auction house, and all of the consumables, we get them for free. Sure, it affects the crafters and the crafting in general, especially for consumables, but at the same time, I guess same as the no GVG content that's not in the game, is an alleviation of pressure. Right, which is good. Then comes the big roadmap reveal, as he calls it. Finally, we receive our roadmap on the 4th of April. I think that this roadmap was great. I think that they reacted really well to the feedback and the situation on the field. Content cadence, the pacing of new releases with higher item level should be based on the majority of active players who care about this particular content. And I think that with no new item level increase in April, or no new content to do for high item level players in April, but adding this content in May is a fantastic choice. By now, with all of the incentives and events that we had, even a completely free-to-play player that was active in Lost Ark and cares about getting his character up in terms of item level is safely, easily around item level 1395, maybe even 1400. And I believe that in the next 16 days, let's say Valtan comes out in the middle of May, I believe that in the next 16 days, with the addition of the ARK pass, with the addition of the 960 boost, which gives you a free alt to sort of the middle to end of tier 2 content, that gets you some gold, which you can funnel into your main, gets you some silver for the daily quest, etc. I believe it's absolutely possible as a free-to-play player to get to 14-15 by the time Valtan would come in, even if it comes in the middle of May. He says here that there are a couple of things that he would want them to change. Let's go quickly through them. Number one, better communication. We need to be transparent with the updates, minute details that can keep the players going and make them know that okay, they are listening and working on it. It's hard to give an example of this, but reading this post, everyone can just see it for themselves. So I think that in terms of communication, in terms of just saying things or saying more things about what's happening, they've done this. What I believe we should work on is sort of being ready not to make mistakes. We also don't need to know everything that's going on if it's something that would shed a negative light on the game or maybe the company, because you know the majority's perception is different. So it's fine if we don't know everything. It's just not fine when they don't know everything. That's the problem. And I think that's mostly on Smilegate not really telling Amazon what's going on, or Smilegate saying something and Amazon communicating that and then changing it back up. So yeah, I believe that's the thing. Monthly events. The Grand Prix was an amazing event. I have no complaints with it, but the event Guardian Raid was a bit lackluster. Yeah, I could agree with that statement, and could be worked on to make the rewards more satisfying for how much work we put into it. But no, actually no, there's not that much work. It's like a 3-minute fight. Come on. So it's not that big of a deal in terms of working for the Guardian Raid event, right? A rotation of events on a schedule, as we received the Grand Prix event, and next month we need a new event to replace that. I don't think we should have an event every month. I'm not against having an event every month, but I don't think it's something mandatory for the game. What this game needs is layers on top of layers, and even more layers, as that is Lost Ark. So there's a new layer being added with the Legion raids, right? That's the top layer, and then there's more layers being added with these horizontal activities that are coming up. They're not even out in Korea, but they're coming out this year, right? In Korea. Not sure when we're gonna get them, but shouldn't take that long, as we're trying to catch up. And in general, content and item level increases might take longer, but stuff that doesn't require that should come to other regions relatively fast after they release it in Korea. So look at the classes, right? We're not keeping a Korean schedule in terms of class releases. We're just releasing the latest class first, and then we are releasing a class every month and so on. So it's different. We need things to do. 1370 standpoint, 2 times Chaos Dungeons, 2 Guardian Raids, 3 daily quests, the guild donation. Come on, it's just pressing a couple of buttons. Should it really be included in this list? Anguished Island Daily. Anguished Island Daily, as long as you don't have the star or the heart. Sure, if you do, then that's not a thing here. And 5 times rapport. Okay, there's a lot of other stuff that you can do on a daily basis. A weekly basis, he says 2 abyssal dungeons, 1 abyssal raid, the pirate shop, the guild shop, and the Una weekly quest. There's a lot more to this list. He didn't mention the PvP system at all. Like, there's a lot of PvP that can be done in Lost Ark. PvP is really cool if you're into PvP. Of course, not everyone's into PvP, but I'm just saying, why are we assuming everyone's into PvE content but not into PvP? So PvP is also a big part of the game. Then there's the collectibles. There's a nice rewarding system that even rewards you with progression things like skill points or gold that can be used to progress in terms of item level. If that's the only thing you care is to hone on a daily basis, then collectibles do help you with that to a certain degree. There's a whole nother thing with gathering and crafting at your stronghold and stronghold in general. Give us things to do, plain and simple. Well, I just gave you more things to do than the list, so you can follow that as well. Cash shop update. I've seen numerous posts about how the CMs agree with the need of skins, need of casual skins, swimsuit, cute skins, and flood the cash shop with it. I don't think the cash shop should be flooded in skins, no. Again, we're 70 days into an MMO's release, and I think we have 4 different sets of skins to choose from. They're also available on the auction house for you to purchase, and on top of that we have the Mokoko skin, or whatever, the animal skin, right, that you that everyone received for free after the release of Argos. So I think that if you divide 70 by 4, that's a skin every 2 weeks. I think that's a good, pace for skins to have one different one every 2 weeks in that sense. Or in total, if you combine all of them from day 1 up until now, including the stuff that's maybe available in game. So I think it's okay. And I also don't think that the community managers should be included here at all. I actually saw a post from Shadow Fox, which is a community manager for Lost Ark. She was expressing her point of view in terms of community managers being, let's say, assaulted verbally or in writing on the forums, and blamed for a lot of things that are happening in Lost Ark. And I get it. CMs are, let's say, the wall that we communicate to, and they're the ones who talk back to us. So some stuff is directed at them, but them being personally accused, that's not right. And I really hope that those of you who are watching me are not the ones who are assaulting community managers on the forums. That's not a nice thing to do. Overall, my feelings towards our Western release so far are positive. I think that they've done a great job in adjusting their plans to fit the needs of what's happening in game, and I'm very proud of them for doing this. I also believe at the same time that it was very tough for them, for Smilegate and for Amazon, to pull out an 100% clean release of a game in this particular form, which we got with tier 3 content, with a perfect balance in between the needs of the players and what they're gonna do in game and the content cadence that they had previously scheduled. And that was everything from me on this topic. Please let me know what your thoughts are on Lost Ark's Western release so far. Let me know where you think they can improve. Let me know where you think they did good, or what you think they did good, and how do you see Lost Ark's near future updates. I'm talking about this year, 2022. I wish you lots of love. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna see you really soon. Take care.